About 5 years ago, I was sitting in the back of an Uber scrolling social media when I came across something that felt like a literal gut punch straight into my stomach. Because what it was a guy that I kind of knew from the grapevine that had just come across a huge amount of success. Right place, right time, deserving of it, all of that. And I remember thinking, man, I wish that was me. And it wasn't so much a sense of envy or jealousy, but more one of shame and disappointment that I wasn't where I wanted to be at that point in my life. For the truth is, we can all have those feelings of falling behind and not feeling good enough. But that moment, it sparked a journey for me. I'm going to speak to someone about it and digging into a bunch of research that I've found has been super helpful for me in conquering those feelings of doubt or uncertainty when they enter my mind. And if you've ever had those feelings, hopefully there's some nuggets of wisdom in this video that will help you conquer them too. So to paint the picture, comparison is hardwired into us. We love to compare. The problem is we can't turn it off. We compare everything, our health, wealth, love, happiness, and everything beyond. And it actually serves a really good purpose because it helps us identify who we are and give us a sense of identity and self, as well as how we fit in the world and how we compare to others. And it's done in two very different ways. The first way is with upward comparison, when we compare ourselves with people that are further along than us or that we believe are further along than us. And done in a good way, that can bring a sense of inspiration and hope. And done in a bad way, it can bring a sense of jealousy and envy. And the second way we compare is with downward comparisons, when we compare ourselves with people that we believe we're further along than. And done in a good way, it can bring a sense of gratitude. And done in a bad way, it can bring a sense of pity. But here's where things went wrong. Over the last 200 or so thousand years, our brains and minds developed. But only the last 20 or so years did social media come along. And I don't know about you, but I don't see many failures getting posted on social media. All we see is the highlights. So all we get is that upward comparison, which can lead to some negative feelings. But the thing about me was, even before social media, I still had these feelings of falling behind and not being good enough. And this all came to a head in a ski trip in Tahoe about 5 years ago when we had all our friends there for a weekend. And I was feeling a little bit stressed at work. And I had my laptop out working on a Google Doc. And one of my mates came over and said, Andy, what are you doing? We've been planning this trip for months. We've got all your people here and you're stuck in Google Docs. And I remember realizing, yeah, man, I was a bad hang. And that moment inspired me to go speak to someone about it. So I went and spoke to this therapist and I said, does everyone have these feelings? I feel like I'm constantly falling behind in life. And she just started laughing. And she said, Andy, the first half of your life was all about looking up to people. You're the youngest of four kids. So that's the only world you have ever known. It's okay that you feel like you've fallen behind or you're not where you want to be just yet. But the next part of your life is figuring out who you should be really comparing yourself to. And just like that, she left it open. And I remember thinking, man, is that right? I always did feel like I was falling behind. And being the youngest of four siblings, I always felt like I was catching up. I remember learning to skateboard and my brother could ollie and pretty soon jump stuff. And I remember thinking, like, man, I want to do that. So I'd stay up night after night. The sun would go down. I'd be denting my shins beyond disrepair. And I could finally do one. I was like, Paulie, come check out my ollie. And he'd moved on to kick flips. And I remember being so frustrated. I was like, man, I'm never going to catch up. But surely it's not just me, right? I'm not the only person in this world who's the younger sibling. So I started looking into some research. And then I found Alfred Adler, who's considered one of the first psychologists that look into family systems theory. And I started reading his stuff. And I'm going to read you a little bit here because it hit me so hard. So we go to the youngest sibling that says, youngest children may feel like they're always trying to catch up. Their older siblings are naturally more capable due to their age. And I'm like, yeah, my brother is 5 years older than me. No wonder he could do better kickflips. And I keep reading, youngest children can develop anxiety as a result of this. And I'm like, oh, Alfred is right. I did always feel like I was falling behind, probably because I was looking up at my older siblings and not being as capable or as mature as they were. And a short time later, I was on the bus reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules to a Good Life. And there it was. Rule number 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And that was it. I realized that I shouldn't be comparing myself to my older siblings or anyone else. I should be comparing myself to me. But not old me, the younger me. The one that wouldn't open his mouth because he had braces to the one that creates YouTube videos today. Because what I've realized is the person that we're becoming is the only thing that matters. And the only person we should compare ourselves is the version we were yesterday. Because if we're on that constant path of self-development and growth, that's all that matters. Because who we are today is actually the best version of ourselves that we could ever be. Why that's been so helpful for me is it gives me gratitude for the younger Andy for striving to do better, thankful for who I am today, and gives me inspiration around who I can become in the future. So now whenever I have those feelings of falling behind or not feeling good enough, I just remember I'm comparing myself to me and my potential, no one else. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you on the next episode.